1985 wasn't just a year, it was a moment when rock music roared through car stereos, lit up music videos, and packed every corner of the culture with emotion, power, and unforgettable hooks. From protest anthems to synth-powered ballads, this was a time when every chorus felt like a memory in the making. Whether you lived it or you're just discovering its magic, these are the tracks that defined a generation and never let go. Let's count down 10 rock songs from 1985 we'll never forget. Number 10, Raspberry Beret by Prince and the Revolution Prince never did anything halfway. And in 1985, when the world was still spinning from Purple Rain, he pivoted. Out came Around the World in a Day, a psychedelic, genre-bending album that caught fans off guard. And right at the heart of it was Raspberry Beret. It wasn't just a single, it was a Technicolor dream, wrapped in a pop-rock groove. With a delicate string section, offbeat percussion, and Prince's unmistakable falsetto, the song drifted somewhere between Beatles nostalgia and Minneapolis funk. Prince had started writing it years before, but this was the moment it took flight. Recorded at Paisley Park and co-produced with The Revolution, the track leaned into whimsy while keeping its pulse rooted in storytelling. And the story? A working-class daydream with one unforgettable girl set to a hook that just wouldn't quit. When the video dropped, bright, animated, surreal, it lit up MTV like nothing else on the air. Raspberry Beret peaked at number 1, 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, but its place in memory is much higher. More than just a song, it was Prince showing the world he could change lanes and still lead the pack. Number 9, What About Love by Heart. By 1985, Heart wasn't chasing a comeback. They were building a new empire. After owning the 70s, the band had fallen into label limbo. But when they released their self-titled album, everything shifted. What About Love was the battle cry, a slow-burning, emotional anthem that didn't just remind people who Heart was, it reintroduced them with sharper edges and louder echoes. The song had originally been passed over by the Canadian rock band Toronto, but when producer Ron Nevison heard it, he saw gold. Recorded at Mushroom Studios in Vancouver, it was wrapped in glossy production and powered by Ann Wilson's soaring vocal performance. Each line carried weight. Each chorus demanded an answer. The track pushed Heart into the top 10 of the Billboard charts and helped the album go platinum. But more importantly, it gave the band a new identity, arena-ready, emotionally raw, and impossible to ignore. It wasn't just a power ballad. It was a second wind, and they wrote it like veterans who knew exactly what they were doing. Number 8, The Old Man Down the Road by John Fogerty. You could hear the swamp before you heard the voice, but once the guitar kicked in, there was no mistaking who had returned. In 1985, after nearly a decade away, John Fogerty came roaring back with Centerfield, and The Old Man Down the Road was the track that announced his resurrection. It had all the grit and groove that made Creedence Clearwater Revival timeless, muddy riffs, haunting lyrics, and that Preacher in a Storm delivery. Written, performed, and produced solely by Fogerty, the song was recorded at the Plant Studios in Sausalito, California. And while it sounded like Louisiana folklore, it was 100% California crafted, straight from Fogerty's soul. The song's cryptic warning, "He got the voices speaking riddles," landed like a ghost story told around a fire. And the video? A single guitar cable slithering through forest and swamp, linking everything together. It reached number 1, 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 and snagged a Grammy nomination. Not bad for a man many thought had vanished into rock history. But Fogerty wasn't done. He just needed the right riff to come knocking. Number 7, Take On Me by a-ha. The first time you hear it, it's the voice that catches you. The second time, it's the video. And by the third, you realize Take On Me was lightning in a bottle. Norwegian band a-ha had already released the song in 1984 to little fanfare. But in 1985, they teamed up with producer Alan Tarney, revamped the track, and paired it with one of the most innovative music videos ever made. The pencil sketch animation fused with live action wasn't just cool, it was revolutionary. Directed by Steve Barron, it told a surreal love story that played like a comic book come to life. But behind the visuals was a song with real heart. Morton Harkett's falsetto reached into the stratosphere, and the synth-driven melody felt both futuristic and deeply human. Take On Me hit number 1, won on the Billboard Hot 100, and swept 6 MTV Video Music Awards. More than a one-hit wonder, it was proof that pop rock could still be artistic, ambitious, and unforgettable. Number 6. We Built This City by Starship. Say what you want, but We Built This City still echoes. Loud, proud, and unapologetically glossy, it was the sound of 1985's radio revolution. Starship had evolved from Jefferson Airplane and Jefferson Starship, shedding their psychedelic roots for something built for arenas and airwaves. This track was the result, a corporate rock anthem that critiqued the very system it dominated. Penned by a super team of songwriters, Bernie Taupin, Martin Page, Dennis Lambert, and Peter Wolf, it was recorded at the record plant in Los Angeles and designed for maximum impact. With Grace Slick and Mickey Thomas trading vocals, the chorus hit like a stadium chant. Big, brazen, and impossible to forget. Ironically, it was a protest against the loss of local radio and live venues, delivered through a song that became a smash on FM radio and MTV. It went to number 1, won topped year-end lists, and eventually landed on both Most Loved and Most Hated Song rankings. But either way, you remembered it. That's the power of a hook that refuses to go quietly. Number 5, Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams.
Summer of 16.
Some songs just hit different. Summer of '69 wasn't about the year, it was about the feeling, the memory, the heartbreak and glory of youth, all wrapped into one punchy anthem. By 1985, Bryan Adams was riding high off his Reckless album, and this single became the emotional centerpiece. Co-written with Jim Vallance, it was recorded at Little Mountain Sound Studios in Vancouver and released as the 4th single from the album. It opens with one of the most recognizable guitar riffs of the decade. Then it gets personal, forming a band, falling in love, watching it all slip away but never really letting it go. The production kept it lean, tight drums, sharp chords, that unmistakable rasp in Adams' voice, cracking just enough to feel real. Though it peaked at number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, it became one of the most enduring rock staples of the decade. Not because it chased perfection, but because it captured a moment we all wish we could get back. Even now, when it plays live, crowds scream every word like it's their own story, because maybe it is. Number 4, Don't You, Forget About Me, by Simple Minds. It wasn't supposed to be theirs. The song had already been turned down by Billy Idol and Bryan Ferry. But when Simple Minds finally agreed to record it, they didn't just make a hit. They made history. Don't You Forget About Me debuted alongside The Breakfast Club, and from the first beat, it became inseparable from the film and the era. A distant synth, a slow build. Then Jim Kerr's haunting vocal, pulling you in like a whisper that never needed a shout. Recorded at Genetic Studios in England, the track was written by producer Keith Forsey and guitarist Steve Schiff. Simple Minds brought their signature atmospheric sound, echoing drums, icy synths, and a chorus that rose from the shadows into a full roar. The song hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and stayed there for weeks. But what truly cemented its legacy was the final scene. Judd Nelson's fist raised in defiance. Freeze frame. That chorus echoing through generations. It wasn't just a song. It was a lifeline for anyone who ever felt lost in the noise, just hoping to be remembered. Number 3, Shout by Tears for Fears. If one song could capture frustration, rebellion, and catharsis in a single line, it was this one. Shout wasn't just a hit, it was a release. By 1985, Tears for Fears had already started carving out a sound that was equal parts pop and psychology. With Shout, they went for something bigger, a full-bodied anthem that demanded to be felt, not just heard. Co-written by Roland Orzabal and Ian Stanley, the track was recorded at the Wool Hall in Bath, England. It was born from Orzabal's growing frustration with global politics and personal restraint, a call to speak out when it mattered most. Layered with cavernous drums, synth textures, and a chant-like chorus, the song stretched past the 5-minute mark and dared radio to keep up. And they did. It hit number 1 in the US, Canada, and Germany, and became one of the most defining rock songs of the decade. Decades later, it still feels relevant, still powerful, still like a cry into the void that demands an answer. Number 2, Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. No other track captured the music video generation quite like this. Money for Nothing was a razor-sharp, satirical take on fame, set to one of the most iconic guitar riffs ever recorded. By 1985, Dire Straits had already built a reputation for sophisticated rock, but this song, co-written by Mark Knopfler and Sting, took them from respected musicians to cultural landmarks. The inspiration came from overheard complaints at a New York appliance store where a worker mocked rock stars on MTV. Knopfler turned that sarcasm into gold. Recorded at AIR Studios in Montserrat, the track featured Knopfler's signature guitar tone, achieved through a Gibson Les Paul Jr. and a customized amp setup. Sting added his vocals during a visit, crafting the unforgettable hook, "I Want My MTV." The song topped the Billboard Hot 100, won a Grammy, and helped push the Brothers in Arms album to multi-platinum success. Its computer-generated video, one of the first of its kind, became an MTV staple, blending cutting-edge visuals with biting commentary. It was rock music, self-aware and self-critical, but still loud enough to take over the world. Number 1, Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. It starts with a snare that hits like a gunshot. Then the synth kicks in. And suddenly, you're not just listening. You're standing in the middle of a nation trying to find itself. Born in the USA was the title track of Bruce Springsteen's 1984 album, but it became a juggernaut in 1985. The single, the video, and the message, everything collided that year. Springsteen wasn't writing a patriotic anthem, he was writing a protest. A story of a working-class man sent to war, then forgotten by the country he served. Recorded at the Power Station in New York, the song was produced by Springsteen, John Landau, Chuck Plotkin, and Steven Van Zandt. Its sound was massive, stadium-ready. But beneath the big chorus was a deep wound. The American flag on the cover, the misunderstood lyrics, the Reagan-era misinterpretations. It all made the song bigger than music. It became a conversation. The video, directed by John Sayles, kept it simple. Springsteen on stage, pouring everything into every note. Born in the USA didn't just dominate 1985, it defined it. And it still echoes wherever people are caught between pride and pain. Some songs fade, others echo. And the tracks from 1985? They did more than top the charts. They marked moments. Moments when the world turned up the volume, and rock music answered back. Which song still hits hardest for you? Drop your favorite in the comments, and tell us what memory it takes you back to.